Now joined by the first black woman chartered accountant in the country, Nonkululeko Gobodo, who just released her autobiography titled Awakened to My True Self. She joins me in studio to share the story behind her successful business career and what prompted her to write the book. Mam Nonkululeko, thank you for making time.
Thank you so much, Clement.
So you have been offered many opportunities in the past to have your story told, and you have said, no. What made you say, actually, I'm ready to tell that story, and I'm ready to tell it from my own perspective and write it myself?
Yeah, I suppose, when I was being offered, I was sort of listening to this because I was afraid to write the story myself, because I thought, I'm not a writer, I'm a chartered accountant. You know, what do I know about writing a book? But then at some point I had the courage to write the story myself, because no one can really tell it better than I.
Yeah. So we know you as this superpower, this superwoman who has done incredibly well. You broke down ceilings in the accounting and auditing profession. When you read the book, you really see the pain, the mistakes, the story behind the successful woman that we have come to know. How difficult was it to dig deeper within and be so reflective about the mistakes and what's happened behind this, what we have only seen as a successful career?
Yeah, I struggled about writing this book because people expected me to write an inspirational book, but I know the truth that I had a life of ups and downs, and I felt that it was important, especially for young people, to know the story behind, to know that, this powerhouse that they see is just a normal human being who goes through struggles in life. And I felt it was fair for everybody to know the truth. But again, it takes a lot of courage. It was some soul-searching, wondering whether people will understand, why I actually went all out to tell the whole story.
You tell a story in the book of how you fell pregnant at the age of 17 and how you got married at the age of 17. And at the time, you were also beginning to build your career. What impact did those moments have on you at the time and also later on in your life?
Yeah, I grew up as a shy girl who was quiet. My mother was worried about me. She thought that I wouldn't make it in life. So because of that, I had a low self-esteem. I actually also really believed that I wouldn't make it in life. And then falling pregnant at 17 forced me to find myself, in a sense. Because, when you fall pregnant at 17, your life is gone. What's going to happen now? I didn't even have matric at that time. But fortunately, I happened to work at my father's panel beating shop, where I got exposed to accounting, where I got exposed, it was my first job really, where I got exposed to white bullies, and I was able to stand up to them. And
you dealt with them. And what, you were 19 at the time?
I was 19 at the time. And then, I was being taught bookkeeping. I caught up to this thing. I was, realized that, no, I'm not this person that I thought I was. I'm actually smart. I'm actually strong. I can stand up to these bullies. And at that point, I found myself, and I had clarity as to what I wanted to do with my life, which I didn't have before.
That's interesting. So that's when you fell in love with chartered accounting as a profession?
Yes, because I got exposed to it for the first. I didn't even know the profession existed, and I got exposed to it for the very first time. And my father was sort of, because they were in healthcare, they were sort of encouraging me to, go the science route, be a doctor. Then I was able to tell my father that, no, now I know what I want to do. I want to be a CA.
Yeah, and then you became the CA, and you became famous overnight because you were the first black female to be a chartered accountant. What doors did that open for you, and how did you deal with this shy kid who grew up, and now she's all over television news and she's being celebrated?
Yeah. First of all, I didn't know that I was the first. So I enjoyed my success for one day. The following day comes out that I'm the first. Even then, it doesn't dawn on me what it means until media descended onto my small town of Amtata. And suddenly, I was being interviewed for television and things like that. And then I realized at that point, from an SABC presenter who actually woke me up to realize that, no, this is not about you. You are now a role model for others. And for me, that meant that then I had to succeed so that others may also succeed. And of course, all doors opened for me up until now, until today.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was quite a difficult journey because when I read the book, I see a lot of, you were the first in a boardroom full of mostly men, mostly white people. So how difficult was it to enter this space of auditing and accounting as a black female?
Yeah, very difficult. Because first of all, as a black woman, you are dismissed as you enter the door. People assume that you are not capable, and you just all the time have to prove that you are capable. Every little opportunity that you get, you have to prove yourself capable. And it's actually sad that for women, that never ends. Even, as we even grow up the ladder, we still have to face these challenges of, especially from men who want to pull us down. So it has always been like that. But of course, I mean, you do prove yourself, and people have to accept the fact that you are capable.
Yeah, and I mean, you were fighting. There's a story when you were at, is it Unitra, the university where you were a junior lecturer, where you tell a story of this professor who called you and said, pick up the papers on the floor, and you said, I will not do that. So you have been fighting and stamping your authority and saying, I will not be treated differently because I'm a woman. I want you to talk to us about some of the decisions you've made. When I read the book and I saw that you were offered a position to be a partner at KPMG, and you said no to that, I nearly banged the book because I thought, what? How do you say no to that? This is the biggest opportunity ever. Why did you say no to that opportunity at the time when you were in the Eastern Cape?
So when the offer came first, I mean, I was very close to Doug Southgate, who was my mentor at the time. So I didn't think much about it. But when I started going through the interviews and I realized that I was going to be a partner at KPMG and I was going to be a partner nationally, not just to Doug Southgate. And then I realized that, no, I have a dream to start my own practice one day. If I accept this position, I will never know as a black woman that I could do it on my own. That's when I then said, I'm sorry, I'm not taking the offer anymore. And it was the best decision of my life. Because, I mean, how would I have known that I could compete with them the way I ended up competing with them?
Yeah, because then you started Gobodo Inc., and then you left, you came back, you started, well, you guys merged what's now called the Sizwe Saluba Gobodo, which is, the biggest black accounting and auditing firm. Take us through the process of merging Gobodo and Sizwe Saluba. How was that process for you? Because now you are beginning to see your vision of a big black accounting firm that can compete with the other big firms coming to life. And that's the vision you've always had, which is why, as you say, you said no to be partner at KPMG.
Yes. When you have a vision, you just have a dream, you're excited about your dream. I've always had this dream of a big black firm, and now it was sort of coming to fruition. And you think, okay, I know that measures are difficult, and I prepared myself, as I share in the book, but the actual going through the measure, humbled me, I must say, because it was so hard to put together these two firms. Just the integration of the two firms was very difficult. But then you face challenges. First of all, you need to convince the market that you are now, ready to do big jobs, and that took a lot of convincing. And secondly, coming together, the culture became such a big issue because although we had a shared history, how we did business was actually completely different. And that nearly killed us.
As we wrap up, just tell me about what you want people to take away from this book, because it's Awakened to My True Self. That's the title. What do you want to awaken us to as we read the book?
Well, I've had this passion of awakening black people and women to who they truly are. because I accept that, you know, process action has got us to where we are, but I just believe that when we awaken to our true power, we'll be able to solve all these problems of racism and gender issues. That's what I want people to awake to.
Yeah, and you speak extensively in the book about 11 years in the wilderness. Yeah, what did you learn about those 11 years about your true self?
Yeah, well, you know, I speak there about finding the ego that was responsible for my life of ups and downs. And when I was able to unpack the ego, that's when I was able to find my true self. And that's what I want people to find. Well,
thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. Like I've said before, the way you are vulnerable in the book is really helping a lot of us start our own journey of healing. And once again, congratulations on your autobiography.
Thank you.
And that is Nonkululeko Gobodo. In a moment, we'll unpack